Georgetown. That's the ball game. The national champion.
Yo, what's going on? It's your boy Frank here from Truth No Chaser. And yes, you have entered another episode of Frankie's Sports Bar, a place where you can get your sip on and your weekly dose of sports all in one place. Got a really good one here for you today, but before we get into anything, I'd like to remind you all to visit us at all of our social media outlets. That will be Facebook, Truth No Chaser. I want you to go to YouTube, follow us at Truth No Chaser. I want you to go to Instagram and follow us at truth_no_chaser. And I want you to go to our website and visit us at www.thetruthnochaser.com. That's where you get all your fly gear. Keep up on with the latest that's going on in the news and with us, all that good stuff. So let's get right into it. Like I said, we had a good one here today. And first and foremost, I want to give a special RIP to legendary Georgetown Hoyas Coach John Thompson, who passed away at the age of 78. Coach John Thompson coached the Hoyas from 1972 to 1999, where he became the first African-American coach to win a major collegiate level NCAA championship, Division I championship in 1984. Throughout those years that he coached, man, he was responsible for some incredible talents. Just to name a few, you had Alonzo Mourning, Dikembe Mutombo, Patrick Ewing, and most notable, Sir Allen Iverson. Thompson was inducted into the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame in 1999. And, I was a young buck when he reigned, man. I remember seeing the 30 for 30 Requiem for the Big East, and when that 1980s era where Big East pretty much just reigned. Had Syracuse, Seton Hall, and all them up in there, dogs, just going at it. Like I said, I was a young buck coming up, but I vaguely remember them, but just stories of them and the lineage and everything like that, knowing what he brought to the table and why he celebrated is a no-brainer. So definitely rest in peace to Coach John Thompson. Definitely a big blow to the basketball world. You will be deeply missed, my brother. So moving on, what we got here, more basketball. We got the NBA bubble. Been talking about the NBA bubble. Things are starting to heat up a little bit. They definitely are starting to heat up in a little bit. You got a couple of teams that's in the couple of upsets in the second round so far. We have the Heat beating the Bucks in Game 1, and also the Celtics blowing out Toronto in Game 1. But the most interesting series haven't left the first round yet, and that's OKC and Rockets, which are going to Game 7, and so the Jazz and the Nuggets pushed to Game 7 in the first round of the playoffs. That's probably the illest series that nobody's really talking about. Dudes is going at it, especially Murray and Mitchell the other day. Donovan Mitchell, man, Murray dropped 50. Donovan Mitchell dropped like 41. It was just like back and forth with it. But yeah, the OKC, now I called OKC winning that series. I know some of y'all probably was like, yeah, we bugging. But I'm going to look a little bit like an oracle a little bit if OKC pull that one off, because they definitely not supposed to be beating Houston in the first round. But we all know how Houston get down when it matters. Sorry. But I guess I won't really be looking like an oracle, because I did pick the Pacers to beat the Heat. So, win some, you lose some, right? So, but the bubble is definitely heating up, man. And NBA action definitely is bout it right now, especially in the midst of everything that's going on with these boycotts and everything. That's a whole nother story for another day, man. I got a whole segment catered to that. my boy Jay. He's gonna be joining me on the show pretty soon, so you get a chance to get it from two different perspectives. You know, he and I argue about it all the time, so we're gonna bring it to the show next time for you guys. Stay tuned with that. So, moving on, let's talking about the boycotts. Let's go ahead and move to the NFL, right? Where it almost seems like the boycotts and protests are almost forbidden. So I want to know, how would these boycotts and protests affect football when it rolls around? And I'm not going to lie to you. You know, I love sports, but I'm a black man first. And just following the footsteps of those NBA players that were brave enough to take a stand, those WNBA players that was brave enough to take a stand, I'm not gonna lie to you, I really feel like the same should be done in NFL by its players, where it's predominantly black, and as a black man in America, the climate that's surrounding our everyday life and now has made its way into the sports world. I personally feel that the players of the NFL should take a similar stance as the NBA, WNBA players, baseball players. You understand what I'm saying? I've wrapped my brain around the fact that the NFL is owned by the good old boys. And it's a fraternity, yes, of owners, but it's a fraternity of owners who are extremely outdated, and they do not get it, and they never will get it, because they've become so far removed from reality, it's not even funny. They never faced any of the issues that some of these players could face, their family members, their loved ones, and they don't have to ever worry about facing this stuff. And it's so easy to just go about it, turn a blind eye and go about it like, you know, let's not let this interfere with what we got going on here. Let's just continue moving on like the rest of the world just doesn't exist. And I believe that is completely whack. And I myself, I'm going to stick around to hear what it is that the players have to say. I want to see, basically what I'm saying is I want to see the NFL players show some balls. We know what you're up against. We know who runs, who's driving, who's the captain of the ship over there. And I get it. But as I stated when we first started talking about this, I'm an African American male first, and you should view it the same way. And if you view it the same way, you know, then you got to say, well, look, we got to make a stand somehow. You're not going to pigeonhole me, and you're not going to gag my tongue, you know, and leave me without voice. So, in all honesty, again, in my personal opinion, if the football players do not move on these issues and approach it in the same, similar or better fashion than NBA or WNBA, then I'm definitely preparing myself to boycott. It'll be the first time I've done it. I didn't do it back 4 years ago when Cap started to kneel and everybody else started to protest and boycott against the NFL and stuff like that, but I'm leaning more towards that right now, and it saddens me, it pains me, because I've been waiting all year basically for football season to move around, run around. You know, I'm a big football fan, so it is what it is, So I know I'll speak for a lot of people out there, and I know my message also is going to fall on deaf ears, but I also have come to the realization that those deaf ears are probably the same of those that own the NFL, those owners that own teams in the NFL. So if you think alike, then this message ain't for you. But again, that's just my personal opinion. But this is my show, that's why I'm mentioning it, right? So as always, if you agree, disagree, have anything to say about what it is that I went over during the show, or especially that last segment there, I would really like to know what people think about that. I'm gonna be honest with you, but leave it in the comments. Feel free, agree, disagree, tell me why. Be respectful about it, but I'm just happy that you're listening to the show regardless. So that's what's up. But before I get out of here, I would like to say that this portion of this episode of Frankie Sports Bar was brought to you by Ambition Custom Apparel. That's custom clothing for you and your organization. Ambition, go get it. And that'll do it for Frankie Sports Bar. The bar's closing. And as always, I will see you next week, God willing. Until then, you guys have a beautiful week. Peace.
Truth. No chaser.